Okay, we should be live. We should be live right now. We are live talking about what has gone on in the WNBA over the last couple of days. Why am I live? Because I told you guys I was going live. It's kind of as simple as that. So we're going to be talking about a couple of topics, from the Aces game to the Liberty game to the All-Star voting situation, 2 players the Fever need to trade for. And yeah, we're going to try to get as much done as we can over the next 90 minutes or so. Obviously, it is early. And obviously, there are 0 people in chat. So once a couple of people come into chat, we will start. We will start. We will start. Okay, we got 7 people in here. Once a couple of people start to come in and, comment, we are going to start. Have we, we got 12 people in here and all. Like, thank you guys so much. If somebody could comment, that'd be greatly appreciated. Just to make sure I know you guys are here. Just to make sure I know that you guys are here. 16-3 likes. Thank you guys so much. Good morning. Go Fever. What's up? Thank you. Okay, cool. So, the topics we are going to be talking about. We are going to be talking a little bit about a player that the Fever can trade for. Actually, give me let me know if there's any topics you want me to cover. I'm planning on covering over the next 90 or so minutes. A player the Fever could trade for, the All-Star player voting scandal, why Justine Bissott hasn't played, the fact that Angel Reese, was complaining about being disrespected. The Dream keep complaining about being disrespected while they can't win. Nalissa Smith hooping, Paige being clutch all of a sudden. The Liberty destroying the Lynx yesterday, regardless of the score, they killed them. And why Caitlin should sit out the Mercury game. Are there any other topics that, you want me to cover? As you got 3 minutes till I go. So if you have any other topics, let me know. Let me know. Okay, 3 minutes, then we start going. But yeah, there are a few other kind of interesting things anyway. There are a few other interesting things. So said, am I not seeing the comments? No, I am. You just obviously are looking late. If you can see it on screen, then I can see the comments. You're seeing it in real time. Cool. I might do this a little more as well, because this is kind of okay. Okay, you're not live. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Have they fired the Fever staff yet? No. No, they're not going to do that till the end of the season. Okay, so there's not that many people here, so I'm going to start off with a topic. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this game right here, because this is something that a lot of people are... a lot of people have really, really hyped the Lynx. And for me, this just showed where it was the Lynx, as much as I like the Lynx, don't get it twisted, I like the Lynx. They're not, until Fee comes back, they're vulnerable. They are really, really vulnerable. And I think a lot of people are, overly, worried about this team. But Natasha Howard looked like Fever Natasha Howard last night. Olivia Miles, by the way, She did not look that good. She went out with cramp. She did not look that good. K-Mac was fantastic. She was fantastic. The bench was really good. Olakosu's a beast. I said the Fever should do everything they could to get her, by the way, in 2025. Everything they could. There may not be a more perfect. She would be starting power forward for the Fever if she played for the Fever. And she's 21. Like, there would have been no more perfect player for them to get than Olakosu in that draft. Like, she's a KK, but 10 times better. But they had no real answer for the Liberty. Like, when every single Liberty starter has 13 or more points. Like, at one stage, Leo Phoebus was shooting step. I said, I don't love Chris DeMarco's offense because they just kept, like, I hate saying this, Stewie at 36, she could have had 46. She could have had 46 in this game, which was crazy. And people in chat saying Caitlin called out for not specifically talking about certain things I'll never be doing of it. Yep, that's what my last video is about. Absolutely. I genuinely believe that. You are on the money. But Hanji was the only bench player that scored for the Liberty. But their starters are so good. Like, Astier is incredible. Like, she's absolutely incredible. And I love how I can say I told you so. I love how I can say I told you so. Like, there was nobody hyping up Astier. 8 months ago, there's a lottery pick, which is top 7. There's a lottery pick level talent available as a free agent. There's a lottery pick level talent available as a free agent about Pauline Astier. People call me crazy. I want to see the comments of this video. As you get a scout job, I don't know. Fever need good players with Caton system. The Valks, Lynx, and Liberty are probably pushing for a signature. One of them got her. She's a real deal. Okay, nobody said anything negative. All the reason Fever won't look at her, she's not an old WNBA player. The competition. Someone said the competition is D1. Like, I don't understand why people think that these EuroLeague teams would not beat every D1 team by 40. Like, I'll never understand that. They'll beat them by 30, by 40 every single time. But, like, this team was missing Satu. And one crazy thing is this with Benijah Laney-Hamilton. Benijah Laney-Hamilton is really good. She's really good. Did she start the year? She started 5 games this year, but is now getting DNPs. I get it. She's not what she was 2 years ago. She's not what she was 3 years ago. But if I'm the Indiana Fever, if I'm the Dallas Wings, I'm calling up New York to try to get Laney Hamilton. And it's hilarious because I don't think they'll trade her because they know she's good, but they also don't want to play her. But she's going to be a free agent on a bargain deal next year. Again, 33. I don't know how she moves. Still, though, I would be very, like, Unrivaled fucked her career, to be fair. Unrivaled actually did. And, Machi, that's a great topic. I will talk about that. Right after this. But, yeah, like, this game here, the Lynx were constantly chasing and never got there. Like, if you're looking here, the Liberty are up 12 points in the first quarter. And, okay, yeah, the Lynx bring it back by halftime. They fight. They fight back. And suddenly, oh, no, it's 14. And, oh, we're going to fight back a little bit. Then we're going to fight back a little bit. And then we're going to pull it away. And then we're going to win by 13. Like, they were up by 20 at one stage. Nearly 20 at one stage. Like, they were up, what, 18 here? 17? And the Lynx, it was literally just the Liberty pull away, the Lynx fight back. The Liberty pull away, the Lynx fight back. And with that, it's like the Lynx pretty much just didn't have it in them. And I think a lot of There's a lot of positive things with the Minnesota Lynx. A lot of positive things today, a lot of positive things we've seen this year. And they're clearly the most, like, for lack of a better way of describing it, they're clearly the team that's exceeded expectations the most, other than maybe the Valks. They're massively exceeding expectations. At the same time, is exceeding expectations enough when, I'm not going to say it's title or bust for your team, but the way people talk about it in a lot of ways is that it is title or bust. Like, if it turns out to be title or bust, when Fee comes back, when Juhas comes back, like, you've got to be the best team in the W right now. Otherwise, your season's been a disappointment, which is hilarious because I had them down, I think, as the 5th seed or 4th seed. I think it might have been 5. And I think in preseason predictions, I had them higher than anyone else did. I think my preseason predictions had them higher. That being said, I had the Valks at 13. Or at 13, yeah. So I'm very wrong with that. It's now at the stage where they, where they can't go and, like, they can't drop it anyway. If it turns out that they just not even exceed expectations, if they go back to where even my highest prediction, which is they end up being the 5th best team in the league, that would be seen as a disaster based on the start of the year, which is kind of crazy. But the Liberty, I still feel like the Liberty are the best team in this league. I still think the Liberty are the best team in the league. I really do. I really, really do. But yeah, that's pretty much it for part number 1 of this live stream and this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below and leave a like if you want to. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm not gonna watch Venom's new video, but I'm gonna be real. I don't like the Fever front office either. I don't think the front office are responsible for this. That's just my opinion. But speaking of the Fever's front office, there is one player that the Fever need. And I mean need to get. That every single team in the league is going to be looking for. It's the 400k contract of Benijah Laney-Hamilton. She is easily one of the biggest assets right now because she doesn't play for New York Liberty. She does not play for the Liberty. I cannot stress that enough. If Benijah Laney-Hamilton was somebody who was getting big minutes for the Liberty, I would not be saying that, oh yeah, you know, she's a trade target. She doesn't get on the court. She does not get on the court for New York. And while saying that, she's also really good at basketball. Like, Benijah Laney-Hamilton is, no question about it, one of the better wings in this league. One of the better defensive wings. I'm not saying one of the best by any means. I'm not going that far. I'm not going far enough as to say that she is one of the best wings in the league. That being said, I will say that she's absolutely an upgrade over Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham. She is significantly better than Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham, even at this point in her career where she's not at her best. She's still the better of those three. Which obviously, look, say what you want, but that matters. Like, Sophie Cunningham is the best bench player on the Fever. Lexi Hull should not be a starter for any team, but she's currently a starter for the Indiana Fever. So when you've got Benijah Laney-Hamilton available, this is a one-time All-Star. This is a player who was this close to being an All-Star the last healthy season she had in 2024. This is a player who was on the World Cup team the last time USA were in the World Cup. And this is a player that the players probably would rank higher than Caitlin Clark, which is literally everybody. But I have to say, this is easily a trade target that kind of changes everything for the Fever if she signs. Because why? She is a much better defender than anything they have. Even at 85%, Lainey Hamilton is better. She's better than Lexi. And look, Lexi, I'm going to be real. Lexi can't defend or score. Like, I love Lexi as a hustle player. What the problem is with Lexi Hull, and this is now the problem when you give somebody a big contract, is that she gets judged based on her contract. Like, she's going to be judged in comparison to other people making $800K. And she's one of the worst. She's not the worst on the Fever that's making $800K. Because there's more than one player on the Fever that's making $800K in Mo Billings that I'm like, this is ridiculous that you're making this money. And she's not as bad. She's better than Mo Billings. I'll give her that. She's a better player than Mo Billings. But at the same time, you got to judge her based on that. And if I'm judging her based on how she's been playing this year, it's not been good enough. It has just not been good enough. And then you've got Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. What would Betnijah Laney-Hamilton cost? She doesn't play, and she's on the final year of her deal. And if you bring her in, she's going to be on significantly more money next year. So her price would probably be an asset that might play for comparable money, and an asset that might play and a second round pick. So who am I looking at for trading if you're the Indiana Fever? The annoying thing is that I don't think you can get away with trading Ty Harris. I don't think you can get away with trading Ty Harris, because that would be the easiest thing to do is if they wanted Ty Harris. The problem is that between Sabrina, Sabrina, they don't want Sabrina playing the one. They don't really want Sabrina playing the one. Maybe you could get away with Ty Harris. And the Fever don't need Ty Harris. You have Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell. If Caitlin Clark's gone, Kelsey Mitchell is a serviceable backup point guard. Like, she is absolutely serviceable. And what you do need is you need more wings. You need more wings. You need more shooters. You need more player. You need a player that can actually get a stop. And like, I shit you not. Like, people are saying that the Vegas first round pick, which is going to be 14, is worth it for Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. People are like mocking her to Dallas, and Dallas need her too. Dallas need her too, by the way. Nobody on that Dallas team can guard a parked car either. Let's be real. Dallas and the Indiana Fever team are the same thing. They're the same teams. They're at the same level. Neither of these teams can defend. They both have a 24-year-old top 3 player in the league playing guard. They're basically in the same boat. But I think Dallas are going to look for her. The problem is that do we think the Indiana Fever have the balls to trade Ty Harris? Because that's how their salary matches. Because I wouldn't trade Myisha Hines-Allen, but if it comes down to it, I would. Like, Myisha Hines-Allen definitely should not be included in the trade talks, but if it comes down to it, and Myisha Hines-Allen is needed, because they want some size. Get ready to learn New York, Myisha. Get ready to learn New York. because honestly, this is clearly a player that is going to help somebody in the league. You just kind of hope as a Fever fan that the Fever are the team that she ends up being traded to, because I don't see how Benaijah Hamilton stays on the New York Liberty. But this is a player who was a starter when they won a championship 2 years ago. I get it. She was hurt a year ago. I get that. And I'm not trying to pretend that Benaijah Hamilton is the answer. Or say is like not the answer, is like a player that is going to come in and change everything. What I'm saying is she's a significant upgrade over Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham. Even a post-injury Benaijah Hamilton is an upgrade over Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham. Like, Sophie Cunningham's fine. She can't really guard. Like, Sophie Cunningham isn't bad at any part of basketball. She's not great, other than dribbling. And she's a really, really good spot-up shooter. And she's disciplined. She tries hard. She's a glue guy. Benaijah Hamilton can guard somebody. Nobody on this Fever team can guard somebody. To the extent where, in my opinion, their best perimeter defender right now is Caitlin Clark. And don't tell me Raven Johnson she can't guard without fouling yet. She's worse than Caitlin for guarding without fouling. Or guarding or fouling. Because Raven Johnson just hacks the shit out of people for no reason. Raven Johnson keeps fouling under the other team's basket on inbounds while their team were in the bonus. But yeah, look, Benaijah would be such a good pickup for the Fever if they managed to pull that one off. Absolutely unbelievable. But speaking of the Fever, did any of you guys see yesterday what Nalissa Smith was doing? Like, I got it. Like, Nalissa Smith genuinely, appreciate that thought, thank you. But she genuinely looked like, do you remember what fans kind of hoped Nalissa Smith was going to be? Do you remember every time she played for the Fever, it was like, okay, mate, is Nalissa Smith going to be good? Like, you know, oh, she has to start because eventually she'll come good. She's going to look like an all-star. Yeah, Nalissa Smith is finally looking like that player. And am I annoyed that Nalissa Smith couldn't undo that for the Fever? Am I alive? Did something happen? Just in general, I'd rather go live. I feel like going live and recording these videos is better than kind of sitting there doing nothing. And it makes me more productive and gets videos out quicker. But with Nalissa, like, she was nearly unplayable for Indiana by the end. Like, she was nearly unplayable. And she's now looking like a player that, when she leaves the Aces, which is probably going to be next year, is going to get a big money move to a team and be a first or second option. And I have to say, like, she did the best thing for her. She was in a situation where, you know, they want her to thrive in Vegas, where she doesn't have to be, you know, the main story, where age is there, where it's a good team who play to her strengths, and she's not in the media light. She is a player that really, you can tell, lets the outside noise affect her. Like, when she played for the Fever, it was very clear she let that outside noise affect her. When she played for the Wings, it was very clear she did. But, like, we're now looking here at a player that is clearly levels above what we saw in Indiana. Like, look at her sprinting the floor. Like, we saw flashes of this. We saw flashes of this player. Like, those one-handed double pump layups never went in Indiana. She went for them all the time. But, like, this is the player that went number 2. Is she better than Shakira Austin? No. Does she go number 2 in her redraft in 2022? No. But this is why she went number 2. This is why, prior to 2024, people were like, okay, she is, like, she's going to be an all-star soon in this league. And there's a reason why people were as excited for Caitlin to play with Nalissa Smith as play with Aaliyah Boston. But it's unfortunate that, you know, had to be gone from the Fever to do it. But I also don't think we see this version of Alyssa Smith for the Fever. I think we see a worse version of what Natasha Howard was last year. That being said, I think she's still better than what Monique Billings has shown this year. Monique Billings has shown nothing. She's shown nothing. But Alyssa Smith is like, she's doing what she was supposed to have been doing when she came into the league. And I got to give credit where credit is due to her family as much as anything. Like, as much as people were like, they put an unfair target on her back, when things were going really, really wrong, they were the loudest people supporting her. And people were saying Smith's ego is what stood in her way in 2024. No, it wasn't. Alyssa Smith just couldn't deal with the outside noise, and it didn't help that Dijonais didn't help. Like, for the Indiana Fever, they, as a team, they stay off social media as much as possible. But like, while they stay off social media as much as humanly possible, which is true, Dijonais Carrington is chronically online. So obviously, she's not going to be able to dodge that. She's not going to be able to miss out on the Dijonais Carrington questions, she's not going to be able to miss out on the discourse because of Dijonais Carrington. And Dijonais Carrington openly, had her hatred towards just everything Caitlin Clark related, and I happened to be on a team with Alyssa Smith. But then there was a lot of weird things with Alyssa Smith as well, like her nearly getting into a fight with Erica Wheeler because Erica Wheeler got into it with Dijonais. It was when they were on the same team. It was weird. But none of that matters. Like, she might actually be an all-star. Like, there is a world where Alyssa Smith is an all-star. And I don't know what way the coaches have with their favoritism, but like, she's been better this season than Dearica Hamby. Like, might I even say she's been as good this season as Nneka Ogwumike? Like, she might actually be. And if not, like, I think it's fair to assume that at some stage Alyssa Smith is going to be an all-star. Because I think when she gets off Vegas, she's going to go and actually have the ability to kind of show off this type of game plenty of times. Like, especially because there are plenty of plate-setting point guards out there. Tons of them, by the way. There are tons of plate-setting point guards that will basically just, put the ball on the platter for her and for her to finish. And her finishing, she's leading the league in field goal percentage. Like, Alyssa is averaging, I think, is she averaging like 11 a game or something? She's averaging 12 points per game on ridiculous shooting splits, by the way, on 70% from the field. And somehow is now a good defender. Like, it's not a crazy thing to predict all-star for this year for Alyssa Smith. And if not this year, like, I'm just trying to think of any... Fuck it. I'm just trying to think what team she could go to next year. Like, even if you go to... Like, you don't want to go to Portland. You don't want to have a downhill driving point guard. But I don't even know what other players you can really look at, or what other teams you can look at. If she wants to just keep... Yeah, Ace can't afford her next year. Because there's no way she's making less than $700K. But yeah, it is... I'm happy because even though I didn't rate her very highly at the Fever, statistically, again, the difference between the Fever being terrible and the best team in the league was her being on the floor. That being said, she's figuring it out. She's figured it out, and by all accounts was an extremely nice human being. So I'm glad she is succeeding. But someone said maybe some players can't handle the spotlight and the pressure playing with Caitlin Clark. Exactly. Like, nearly every single thing that went wrong with Alyssa Smith in Indiana was with Alyssa Smith and the Indiana Fever fans was caused by Twitter. it was caused by Twitter. She would be making cryptic tweets that everyone thought had to do with the fever. She's currently, Caitlin Clark was in the midst of breaking the all-time assist record, and she tweeted out, Chelsea Gray is the best passer in the WNBA. I'm like, it's fine doing that now. You're Chelsea Gray's teammate, but like, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm glad seeing Alyssa Smith doing well, I guess. See you guys. Okay, so the Maddie Seegers question is really, really interesting, and I want to talk about that. I really want to talk about the Maddie Seegers question. So and this just isn't purely a Maddie Seegers thing, because somebody asked about the salary cap topic, so I want to talk about it. So the salary cap right now and the epic provision is going to destroy teams. It is going to destroy teams in the WNBA. And the Fever have it pretty bad, as in next year, if Caitlin Clark takes the epic and takes the max, the Fever lose both Sophie Cunningham and Kelsey Mitchell. Because of the bump in Lexi Hull's salary, and because of the bump in Raven's salary and the first round pick they get, it is straight up a case where the Indiana Fever need to choose to either trade. You can trade Caitlin Clark, and you can get depth. Like if the Fever trade Caitlin Clark, they can keep Kelsey Mitchell, and they have a whole bunch of other depth, and they have a little bit of cap space. If they don't trade Caitlin Clark, they have Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Mo Billings, and Raven, and a bunch of minimum contract players, and whatever first round pick they get, because they have no money for anyone else. They can't even afford Sophie. Because of the epic provision, the Fever are screwed. But the Wings are really screwed. Like, I cannot stress that enough. The Wings are so screwed. Because a lot of people are like, I've got Maddie Seegers on screen. It's not the biggest deal if they lose Maddie Seegers. It's not the end of the world if they lose Maddie Seegers at all. No, it's not the Maddie Seegers problem. It's that I don't think people understand that the Dallas Wings next summer have to let not only Maddie Seegers go. Like, if you look at, when was the last time the Wings played? If you look at the Wings squad, Awak Kuier also starts. Awak starts. Awak is gone. Maddie is gone. There is no way you are trading two max contract players that are averaging a combined 17 points. They're making $2.4 million to average 17 points per game combined for the next 3 years. These are both on 3-year max deals. And the one positive is that Paige Bueckers' epic provision does not kick in till next year. But I don't think people understand, once Paige Bueckers' epic provision kicks in, you see your other all-star, Jess Shepherd. Yeah, she's gone. They're not going to be able to keep her. They're not going to be able to afford to keep Jess Shepherd. They have committed long-term, like, their ring window is this year. It's this year, by the way. Because even with Paige bumping up in the, with her salary bump up, Leah Rue's on a minimum, Odyssey Sims is on a minimum, Sutton's on a minimum, Isaiah James' increase in salary beats the salary cap. Leah Rue's gone, Maddie's gone, Awak's gone. Because why? Awak's going to command $800K in the open market. Maddie Seegers is going to command maybe $650, $700K in the open market. Again, both of them are more valuable than a Mo Billings. But because, and Jess Shepherd's on 2 years, So if you guys are wondering why they gave Jess Shepard a 2-year deal instead of a 3-year deal, the reason why is because of the Paige Bueckers epic provision. They wanted to make sure that that they were going to be able to afford to give Paige Bueckers her max contract after year 3. So what they did was they made sure that, the Jess Shepard money frees up so that they have money to pay Paige, which is going to be a disaster. Which is going to be an absolute disaster. Because it's going to be Paige, Azzi, Arike, Alana Smith, and friends. By then, you're going to still have Isaiah James, I guess. Your starting 5 is probably, what's the best you can get for $400K on the open market when your team's not going to be good? When your team's not going to be good, and I give Fever credit where credit's due. Again, at least they only gave Sophie and Kelsey 1-year deals. If they gave Kelsey a multiple-year deal, there's a world where Caitlin Clark just walks for free at the end of the year, where every single team in the league kind of bands together and is like, we're not taking any of the Fever's big contracts because if we don't take them, Caitlin Clark walks. Caitlin Clark walks. Somebody just said you can trade Arike or Alana Smith with picks. How many picks do you have to give up? And then that doesn't really solve the problem. Okay, cool. We lose Arike and Alana Smith. We have no draft picks. We have a bad GM. We don't recruit overseas well. People being like, oh, but look at all the players from overseas they brought in. It's Awak was already there. They somehow watched Awafam play and said, you know what, we don't want her. Apparently, on multiple occasions, Kurt Miller walked in to watch Awafam play and walked out immediately. Watched her play for 3 minutes and left on multiple occasions. He made it a whole spiel that he was going to see that he was walking out of Awafam, that he didn't want her. Clearly Awafam was a better pick than AZ Foot. Clearly Awa was. It is one of these things where the Dallas Wings are screwed. I'm trying to think of other teams that are screwed. The Liberty have kind of doubled and tripled down on their core. So I'm not going to say the Liberty are screwed. They have just doubled down on their core. The Fever aren't screwed, but they still have 2 really bad contracts. I think any team that signed a bad contract, and the Aces have, the good thing with the Fever is they have Caitlin Clark. The Aces might be the 1 year for the Aces, by the way, because you know who comes off the books next year? Jackie Young. Jackie Young comes off the books next year. She only signed a 1-year deal. And Jewel Lloyd gets a salary bump. Chelsea Gray gets a salary bump. And I think they have to decide whether it's Nalissa Smith is going to be making more money. You've got to decide, do you want to keep Nalissa or Jackie? You can't really keep Jackie. Aja Wilson gets a salary bump. They're in a really bad spot financially. Really bad spot financially. And those Supermax contracts are killer. And if you have a Supermax contract player, you're in a bad spot. You really are. Aaliyah's on a Supermax. That's crippling the Fever. That is absolutely crippling the Fever. So instead, teams conspire not to take a Fever player like Kelsey Mitchell if they tried to trade her. Teams don't have to accept her. Teams don't have to accept a trade for any player. It's a bad contract. And Katie Lou Samuelson was a pretty decent player, and nobody traded for Katie Lou because they didn't want to help out the Fever. It's as simple as that. Every team in the WNBA was looking for Katie Lou after she was bought out. But yeah, look, it is... These new salary cap rules in the Epic provision I don't think they realize how much the Epic provision screws over young teams. The Mystics as well. Everyone talks about the Mystics being this, insane team. But if Sonia Citron makes an all WNBA team this year, and somehow Kiki makes it next year, they're fucked. So instead of building around the 4-year rookie deals of these players and signing long-term deals, like if you have a good rookie, you now basically have to make sure that you just assume that their rookie deal is 3 years. So if they're a superstar after 2 years and you think they're going to make an all WNBA team, you literally cannot sign. Like, let's just say hypothetically, the Mystics. The Mystics are like, after 2 years of Kiki and Sonya, you're like, we're going for it. We're going for it. So we're going to sign some free agents. If they sign those free agents to multiple year deals, not 1 year deals, multiple year deals, and then suddenly Sonya and Kiki make an all WNBA team, the Mystics might lose both Sonya or might lose one of Sonya and Kiki because the players they're trying to build around, because suddenly they're max eligible 1 year early and they haven't planned for it. They planned around these people going off the books at the end of their rookie deal, but their rookie year deal abruptly ends a year early. Like someone said, you want rookies to perform well. You want rookies to perform well, but not top 10 well. Yeah. Like you want, ironically, if you were a fan of a team and your player and a rookie gets snubbed from an all WNBA team, that's the best thing for you. Like the Minnesota Lynx as well. They're very lucky that Olivia Miles is a rookie this year. Because at least when Olivia Miles comes off her rookie deal is when Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams come off the Bucks. But like there's a world where they mightn't have even been able to afford to keep Olivia Miles past their rookie deal. It's going to be scary what's happening, and this salary cap is going to fuck over a lot of teams. And I'll give credit where credit's due to the Fever. They actually did an okay job in navigating it, I have to say. They did an all right job in navigating it. Like the Fever are just not going to be very good next year, but they're not like long-term fucked. They're not fucked long-term. I want to talk about the All-Star votes, actually. This is an awful look for the WNBA. The All-Star vote situation. This is a terrible look for the WNBA. I cannot stress that enough. This is an awful look for them. Like, the 85 of 180, so 95 WNBA players didn't vote, and it was worth 25%. If less than half of the players are going to vote, their vote should not be worth this much. Like, it has to become mandatory that they vote. Even putting in a joke. Like, even putting in a complete joke thing. Like, it should be mandatory that they vote. It really needs to be mandatory that players vote in this. Especially because, again, it is worth 25%. And not only that, the Sparks ballots went missing. They went to the fucking spam folder. Teams emailed the ballots to teams, and the Sparks emails went straight to spam. So the Sparks players, apparently, players just vote for their friends and teammates. Hence why Caitlin Clark is 11. She doesn't have any friends. The vast majority of she doesn't really have that many friends in the WNBA. And people are like, oh, Caitlin Clark is she's 11th, which means, she probably got a whole bunch of votes because it's top 4. And I'm like, I'm going to be real. For Caitlin to be 11th, with AZ to be 28th, it means 27 players got votes. Caitlin to be 11th. My guess is that Caitlin was on less of these 85 to be ranked 11th. My guess is the majority of ballots, or 99% of ballots, had Ryan Howard, Paige Bueckers, and Olivia Miles. Had the 3 of them on it. I would say nearly every ballot had those 3 names. So you're then looking at 85. You're looking at 85 other ballots. And with those 85 other ballots, there were 10 for one spot for 7 players. and Caitlin was 8th. So 7 players were ahead of Caitlin from 85. There is no way that Caitlin Clark was on more than 12 ballots. 12 of those 85 ballots. And that is the max amount. The max amount. Which means one of two things. Either nobody on the Fever voted for the All-Star ballot. Either no one on the Fever voted, which could very well have happened. Or even her teammates didn't vote for her as an All-Star. Or only Fever, or not one player, not a member of the Indiana Fever, have or voted for Caitlin Clark. There's 3 outcomes. I don't think the Fever players not voting for Caitlin Clark is one. I think one of 2 outcomes are real for Caitlin Clark. Either none of her team voted, which, by the way, makes a mockery of the whole thing if an entire team decides not to vote. Abstains from voting, especially because of how much it's worth. Or outside of the Indiana Fever, she was on 0 ballots. 0 ballots. One of those 2 things is true. And I don't know which is which. You guys we can speculate all we want. But I'm being real, whichever of those answers is correct, it makes a complete mockery of the system. It makes a complete mockery of what is something that, should be taken seriously. But the players don't. And obviously the fans are calling out the players because, especially the players when it came to the forwards were okay. Do I think they rated Leah Boston a little bit low? Sure, but I don't hate it. It's not the end of the world. But it's for the guards, since the dawn of time, they have just hated on people. They have just been haters. Whether it be Sabrina, whether it be Kelsey Plum in the past, whether it's Caitlin Clark now or Kelsey Plum now, or for some reason Jackie Young. I don't know why suddenly they became haters of Jackie Young. It is I genuinely just don't know what the point of this is. And ESPN were going out and finding this, have made sure as hell that everybody knows some of the ridiculous stuff that's gone on. And I'm I understand, obviously this is this happens and you don't want to take away the players of voting because we're players allowed to vote for the teammates, yeah. Yeah, it says it. I think it says it in this article that players mostly vote for their teammates and friends. Sorry, it's not infrequent for some players to prioritize voting for teammates and friends across the league. So the likelihood is that Caitlin Clark received 0 votes by non-Fever players, or that the Fever abstained from voting. So one of those 2 things are true, and neither of which are good luck for the league. Again, an entire league conspiracy to not vote, not even league conspiracy, the entire league being so salty that they didn't vote for who has clearly been a top 4 guard as a whole, that every single one of them said no, said that she wasn't on it, or the opposite, that one team has been so disenfranchised by the league that they've just decided that we're not going to we're just not going to vote. We're going to abstain from voting. I'm going to be real. None of those outcomes are good for the league. None of those outcomes are good looks for the league. And the player vote for the guard showed clearly that people are just, again, voting for their friends. I really want to see who those 3 guards that weren't on the top 11 were. We know Chelsea Gray was one of them. We know Chelsea Gray, they voted as the 5th best guard. And by the way, there needs to be some new nickname for Chelsea Gray because she's not. She doesn't really even play point guard anymore. She's clearly not the best point guard in the league, but she is the most clutch player in the league. Kelsey Mitchell voted for herself. Probably did. If she voted, she probably did. And I wonder what way it is. So I'm not going to go and accuse no players of voting, but neither outcome is a good look for the league. And even still, what if only some of the Fever players voted for Caitlin Clark? That would be mad. But still, even if half the Fever players voted for Caitlin Clark, which would be wild, then that still means that 5 of the remaining 70 players put Caitlin Clark on their ballot. Because there's no way, again, there's no way she appeared on more than 12 or 13 ballots. There's no way. There's no way at the ranking that she was at. My guess is that Jackie Young appeared on 2 ballots. Like, with her 14th. Sykes, yeah, they probably voted Sykes ahead of her. They probably voted... My guess is Sykes, Canada, and Gray. That's probably my guess. That would be my guess. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, yes. Yeah, give me 1 second to set this up. So the Indiana Fever have a couple of games in the next couple of weeks, or over the next week, and Caitlin Clark clearly is not going to be healthy for tomorrow's game. It's a bit of a shit one. It's a bit of a bad one, but she's clearly not going to be healthy, and she has said as much. She has let everybody know that she is not going to be healthy for that game. And would I like to see Caitlin Clark play in that game? Sure. I absolutely would. And I feel like Caitlin being healthy is probably the main thing. The main thing is that she's healthy in September, hopefully October if the Fever make the finals. But I don't know. Like, the Fever ain't going to comfortably make the playoffs. If the Fever do somehow go like 1-3 on this road trip, then it becomes a bit questionable. Especially with the way the Mercury are kind of storming up. But no, I think they'll be fine. I think Indiana will be absolutely fine. But for Caitlin Clark, she did say something, and it's something that makes it sound like the Fever are doing a smart thing. So I was going to make a video being like, look, I don't think that I don't think when it comes down to it that the Fever should let Caitlin Clark play against the Mercury. I tweeted out and people were like, oh, she's so soft. And I was like, look, it's a back-to-back. I was like, she's not playing 2 of them anyway. Like, no team is dumb enough to let somebody with a bad back coming off an injury play a back-to-back. And I was like, you know what? Like, there's no point in her playing it because someone's going to go for her and she could re-injure her back. Like, you can re-injure your back doing anything, but like, you better believe that they would, if for no other reason than the Mercury would get 2 pumps for the game, that they might accidentally go for her. But I think this one is important here. So take a listen to what Caitlin Clark said.
Back into practice today, and then feeling really, really positive about getting back into one of the games at the back-to-back. Obviously, difficult coming back in a back-to-back, so we'll have to be cautious of that. But I feel a lot better, and like I said,
let's listen again.
Obviously, difficult coming back in a back. Really, really positive about getting back into one of the games at the back-to-back. Obviously, difficult coming back in a back-to-back.
I'm positive of getting back one of the games in the back-to-back, which means she said there she's not playing both. And then she was like, look, it's difficult to come back in a back-to-back, so we have to be careful. Which is basically her saying, I'm only playing one of the games in the back-to-back. And she has a choice. Does she play against the LA Sparks, which could very well be a tune-up game? Like, the team could probably survive against the LA Sparks if her minutes start with a 2. She can probably use it as a tune-up game. She can get her shots up. She can use it to get help to kind of get her legs under her. That being said, they then play the Mercury on the second day of back-to-back. where the team are going to be kind of dead. Where Caitlin's going to, even if she comes back for the second game of a back-to-back, Caitlin's going to have to be superhuman, because the whole team are going to be tired. They're going to expect Caitlin Clark to do too much. And again, a win against the Sparks and a win against the Mercury are worth the exact same amount. They're both fighting for their playoff lives. Someone just said she might come out to Feast. No one thought she'd come back against the Liberty last year. The Liberty didn't go out to hurt her. I still believe, I don't believe the Mercury went out to injure her back. The Mercury went out to be physical and, you know, like send a message. They went out to send a message. And unfortunately, in that whole thing, was an injury to Caitlin Clark. They went out to send a message. And unfortunately, by sending a message, they hurt a player. Like, it is what it is. It happens. And I got to be honest. I'm a little bit kind of surprised at the whole situation. How it's been taken by the media. But, like, you know, with Caitlin Clark, that the media doesn't like her anyway. It doesn't really matter what's going on. Like, the media does not like Caitlin Clark, and the media have made that very clear. They do not like Caitlin Clark. So no matter what she does, it's going to be bad. And also, like, if Caitlin Clark comes back for the Mercury game, every bit of the talk is going to be about Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas. Like, if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'm not even going to Phoenix. I'm not even going to Phoenix. I'm just chilling. If they say anything to me, I'm just like, look, I'm doing some rehab work. If nothing else, because of the curse of Phoenix as well. If you guys don't know about the curse of Phoenix, the Keith Porter tore his Achilles. Caitlin Clark fucked her ankle. And both of am I right in saying both of Ari and Sid Colson went down against Phoenix? But, like, it's literally, or like, basically their whole team. Sophie, I think, got injured earlier on in the year against Phoenix. Everyone, the whole team got injured in Phoenix. Like, for the Indiana Fever, the Phoenix Mercury, or Phoenix is just a cursed city. It is a cursed city for the Fever. And yeah, overall, they're not one of those teams that they're definitely one of these superstitious teams who last year, again, the whole damn team got injured in Phoenix. But yeah, look, it is what it is at the end of the day. The likelihood of her skipping out on the Phoenix game is probably 80 to 90%. Someone says, I think she needs to play in Phoenix. Why? So that she can miss the rest of the season? Why would she play a second game of a back-to-back instead of the first game of a back-to-back? No one has ever, like, why would she do that? Why? Oh, so she can prove a point to Alyssa Thomas. She already did. She beat those fuckers by 20. Like, I don't think people understand this. Caitlin Clark has never lost to Phoenix in her career. When she has played the game, she has never lost to Phoenix in her career. Caitlin doesn't have anything to prove to the Phoenix Mercury, who are the team she has completely owned for her entire career. But yeah, it's one of those things now where it's like, I just don't see why she would play. And it's a very obvious one why she wouldn't play. If they face the Phoenix Mercury in the postseason, she'll play and she'll beat them. And yeah, it is what it is. Like, oh, that game's on national TV, tough. Tough. It's your fault, league. You can't blame Caitlin Clark for, not going and not playing when, she got injured by this team. And I don't think there's reason for her to play this game. She's injured anyway. She's going to play one of the back-to-backs. Why would she choose the game that she's probably going to go and get her targeted in? Because you better believe, even if it's not enough for her to actually get hurt, there's no way in hell that they're not going to, put a little bit of extra into Caitlin Clark a few times. To say she's ducking the smoke, man, Caitlin Clark could average 100 points a game, win a title, and they'll say she's ducking the smoke. Okay, what 2 more topics? Oh, I really, really want to talk about this topic. And this is really frustrating me with the fever. Why are there no photos of Justine Passat from that preseason game? How far back do I have to go? To get a photo of Justine Passat playing basketball for the Fever. Yeah, probably doesn't exist. Probably does not exist. But yeah, so I really want to talk about this topic for a little while because I do feel like it is something that is important to discuss because I feel like the Indiana Fever really messed up something. They really, really messed up something. And every other team's kind of using this to their advantage. And it's the whole dev player situation. And I get it. Like, I do get it. That the Indiana Fever have been, at times, the picture of health. Justine Passat was told... Justine Passat did not have the option to sign a dev contract with another team. The Indiana Fever just wasted a year of Justine Passat's career. And people being like, they have 12 games to use it or waiting for the second half. Justine Passat will not play 1 minute this season. Why? Amber Cox said it. Amber Cox literally said it. She said before the season started she had no intention of playing a development player. That they're red shirts, she's not going to play them. And obviously, if a team wanted to sign Justine Passat to a full contract, they would. And no team has. The problem is that you're looking at the Mercury. I'm going to look at other teams. So we're just going to look at WNBA. I'm going to look at dev players. The Aces. The Aces don't play any dev players. Cool. The Lynx. Hoff is a dev player who was literally on the floor in the first game to get swatted by Angel Reese. They've activated Bree Hall a few times. Yeah, because, but they chose not to activate Passat or Bree Hall when Dantas was injured at the start of the year. They've activated Bree Hall twice. Twice in a season. The Lynx, Hoff, Hamzova, who else? Leah King have all played. The Valks. They're dev contract players. They've played a couple of them, I think. I'm trying to think of who's on the who's the Valks dev contract players. Because they've definitely played. I think everybody's played dev contract players. So the Valks dev contract players are... I think Soa hasn't played much. Practal played a little bit. Fingal, they've put her on the floor. The New York Liberty, Marine Fatou played against the Fever. The Atlanta Dream have played their dev players. The Dallas Wings have played their... they haven't played a Conquo, I don't think. Kate Martin's on game 10. The Mystics have played some dev players. The Tempo have played. Even in game 1, we're playing their dev player. The Slovenian Big. The Portland Fire have played dev players. All these teams are playing. The Chicago Sky, Koulibaly, Maddie Westball, they're playing dev players. Seattle Storm have played Taina Mare. The Sun have played Haley Van Lith. Every other team has gone and played dev players. Like, if Justine Bassett was drafted by any team, like, I'm just going to show you guys this 2026 WNBA draft. So, Justine Bassett. Every single player that was not stashed, as far as I'm aware, that was taken before Justine Bassett has played in a WNBA game. Suarez, yes. Booner, yes. Ledger Walker, yes. Is fucking starter. Prosper, yes. Latson, yes. Lattimore hasn't. Even though I thought she was really, really good. Key is a key rotation piece. So, every single player taken before Justine Bassett, outside of Lattimore. Has Latasha Lattimore, she hasn't even signed a dev contract anywhere, so something's obviously wrong with Latasha Lattimore. Because she looked really good in preseason. So something, if she hasn't signed a dev contract, something's seriously wrong there. And then you look below Bassett. Stash. Has played some okay minutes for the Dream. Been injured the whole year. Has played very little, in fairness. Has little Paige Bueckers played? I think she might have played a minute. No, she hasn't played. So she hasn't played. So you're looking there. Little Paige Bueckers hasn't played. Third round. Never made a team. Key rotational piece. Was at one stage rotational piece. Never made a team. Don't think she ever played. Stash. Somehow is now on the Indiana Fever and doesn't play. Never made a team. Then a bunch of stashes. So, like, what? Justine Bassett is like, of these players in the draft, of the 45 that were drafted, 30? 30 of them? Did someone just say trade Kelsey Mitchell for Haley Van Lith? Okay. You do you, I guess. Of the 30 of them, Bassett has been one of the least valuable ones. Because the Fever have never had any intention of playing her. She's played one preseason game and scored 10 points. Like, she scored 10 points, went coast to coast a few times. Like, there's been a lot of, like, really kind of big... She did a lot of good things in that preseason game and hasn't gotten a look at since. Like, there is no reason why she hasn't gotten at least a look in when Dantas was gone. And for the people saying again, like, where everybody was being like, oh, they're waiting for her to the end of the year. No, they're not. Absolutely no, they're not. They're not going to play her. Amber Cox from the very start. And this is why I said this. People were like, oh, the Fever could sign this player with dev contract. And I'm like, the Fever, I mean this when I say this, is the least attractive dev contract destination. People are like, oh, the Fever should sign Kate Martin on a dev contract. Why would Kate Martin sign a dev contract with the Fever? They don't want her. The Fever don't want the Fever want practice bodies on a dev contract. And there was never an intention of playing Bree Hall. There's never been an intention of playing Justine Bassett. What do they gain by not playing her? Nothing. She's a practice player. They don't want her. They would have, if this was last year, they would have cut her. It means they can just have her there for practice. They don't understand how you can use that dev contract players are meant to be there for development. They were just kind of added there. There shouldn't be a max. They just make the roster. It should have been stupid enough, like where it was like, just let the roster be 14. Let the roster be 14. If you want to call up a player, call up a player. Don't limit the games to 12. Just make the roster 14 players, and 2 of the players and 2 of your dev contract players have to be under a certain age. I don't know. Make a certain amount of players, like have a certain amount of players that have to be a certain age for a team. I don't know, but like, I don't understand the people. And from as far as I'm aware, again, this is like a fourth or fifth hand information. I think one of the reasons the Indiana Fever did not recruit, we're not able to recruit overseas, is that they wanted players to fight it out. Like, I think, as far as I'm aware, any of the overseas players the Fever were trying to recruit were basically being told, you know what, yeah, you're a training camp player. You're there with Megan McConnell and you're fighting it out. You're fighting it out with Megan McConnell for a spot on the team. And I can't remember who the other one was even. You're fighting it out with them two. Instead of like the Liberty being like, oh yeah, you're going to be a key rotation piece from day one. So you're not going to sign them. Like, when you're not going to be able to attract players to sign a dev contract when you're when you don't play dev players. So next year you're not going to ever be able to sign somebody on a dev contract if you want to take a look at them, because you've essentially shown they're not going to play. Not only that, when it comes to the whole roster stuff, if you're one of these players like a Justine Passat, you want to play for your own money situation, because you want, worst case scenario, you want to be in the shop window for another team. And the Fever didn't even play her in preseason. They didn't even play her in preseason. Like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. As far as I'm aware, the Fever inquired about Pauline Astier for a training camp spot. As in, no guarantees of anything. They wanted her to try out for the team. As far as I'm aware, the Connecticut Sun offered her a starting point guard spot, and the Liberty offered her a key rotation piece. The Fever inquired about whether she would come to training camp. And they inquired about her after already drafting Raven and after already signing Ty Harris. So she would have been a dev contract player for the Indiana Fever. As far as I'm aware, the Fever wanted Astier to basically be where Bree Hall is right now. That is, again, as far as I'm aware. This is a source of a source of a source of a source. This goes like 4. Like, this goes like 5 people down. Like, this could be completely false information. But again, source of a source of a source told me that. Well, told me that, and I kind of put pieces together to make that, to kind of say that. But again, I could be very wrong. But as far as I'm aware, she was offered a lesser role at Indiana, or she wasn't offered. She basically was. She was going to be cut from Indiana, whereas she was offered a role for New York. Like, they're 2 very different things. They're 2 very different things. Okay, what do I want to make? One more video. I want to make one more video here. Okay. One more video and I'm heading. Any topics you want me to talk about? I got 1 minute. 1 minute. For a topic. No, but she was still meant to be Sabrina's backup. She was always there to be Sabrina's backup. She was not offered a starting role for New York Liberty, but she was always supposed to be Sabrina's backup. Okay. How does Sydney Taylor go undrafted? Because she was in the draft 2 years ago, averaged like 9 points per game for a team who didn't make the tournament and just got way better overseas. Like, are the WNBA covering up turnovers to Olivia Miles? Probably, but they're just bad record keeping. Like, Grace Berger got multiple turnovers last year on the bench. Like, Grace Berger literally got multiple turnovers while she was on the bench last year. The Fever is a graveyard of the WNBA. I don't know if I'd say that, like... I don't know if I'd say that, like, at all. I don't love their any decision they made other than Maisha Hines-Allen. Like MHA, but like that wasn't really a Fever decision. That was she got so disrespected by the league that she wanted to. Are the dream frauds? Yes, that is a great statement. That is a great statement to make. Great thing to talk about. So the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream. Are the Atlanta Dream frauds? This is a really weird way to answer, really weird question, because the Atlanta Dream are going to be a good regular season team. This 4-game slide's like not going to be something that continues to happen. Like, their 4-game slide, they're going to start winning games. The loss to the Dream is bad. But this season goes one of two ways for Atlanta with the way things are going. And we're going to see a lot today against Golden State. If they lose 5 straight, and Golden State's not an easy team to beat, whether you're home or away. If they lose 5 straight, and I get it, they come in, they then go on a run where they're probably going to win 5 straight. Like, if they don't win 4 or 5 during Seattle, Portland, LA with no Kelsey Plum, Toronto, and Chicago. Like, if they don't come out with 4 wins out of 5 there, something seriously wrong. But it's the way they're losing games. And the roster, I hate to say this, like, when it comes to playoff basketball, the only player I trust hasn't played in a playoff game. The only player when it comes to playoff basketball I trust, which is like, who has an ability, get buckets out of the mud and when things aren't going right, like, pull a team through, is Angel Reese. Angel Reese is the only player on this team I trust, and maybe Jordan Canada. I don't trust Ryan Howard in the playoffs. I don't trust Ryan Howard. Like, Ryan Howard is the least consistent player in the damn league. Like, defensively, sure. But when it comes down to it, like, this is a team that choked against the Hospital Fever last year. And don't get it started. They choked. The Fever were down all of Game 3. It looked over. Heck, they had it won. They were 1 point up. The Fever botched their offense. All they had to do was not remember their basketball players. And Bree Jones switched off and left Aaliyah Boston wide open. Forgot to guard Aaliyah Boston and left her wide open under the basket. And then they turned the ball over on the subsequent play. Their coach is a system coach. Everyone's like, oh, why don't Atlanta adapt things up when they lose? Because that's not what Carl Smesco is as a coach. He is a plan A. My plan B is do plan A better. Like, that is his plan B. Like, that is his plan A. Or sorry, his plan B. His plan B is to do plan A, but better. And just hope it works. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with a coach like that. Like every coach has different way they go at basketball. Some coaches are proactive coaches. Some coaches are reactive coaches. Like Stephanie White's the opposite. Stephanie White's game plan, Stephanie White 180 your game plan based on her opponent. Carl Smesco doesn't care who his opponent is. The game plan is the same. The game plan is the game plan. And this is a funny one because I'm going to upload this video probably a little bit before the Golden State Valkyries game. And it wouldn't really surprise me that much if this team gets fired up and beats the Valkyries. But if this team, if you guys don't get it, when teams go on a lot of these rants and get fired up and go into press conferences talking about being disrespected and leave every game talking about how the refs are screwing them and everyone's against us, that works one of two ways. Like, that is the team trying to galvanize together, and it's a team trying to galvanize together and push on eventually. The Indiana Fever do it more than anybody. As a team, nobody makes it more they're all against us than the Indiana Fever do. As a collective, they are the worst for it. But it's very clear last year especially that spurred the team on. The problem is with the Atlanta Dream is they've already had multiple "we're being disrespected" rants. They've had multiple the league is against us rants, and they're in free fall. It's like when I was like, the Fever called team meeting, and I'm like, they better win the next game. Because if you lose, I've been part of teams that are like this. If you lose the next game after we've been fucked, everyone's against us, and having a team meeting, we need to do this. If you lose the next game, you're fucked. And at least the Atlanta Dream have a pretty easy five game run after this. Where even if they go 3-2, it's not the end of the world. And they started off well enough. They're going to make the playoffs comfortably. It's a long season. It's only 20 games in. They're not even halfway in. But you can tell when players are panicking a bit. Like Smesco, they come into a game off a 3-game losing streak complaining about being snubbed for an all-star starters and then losing to a non-playoff team at the time without their best player. And yes, I know they're in the 38 seed now. Like, that's when the main thing stops being the main thing, when you overly focus on the outside stuff rather than what's going on the floor, and you can let that negatively affect you, you can spiral. So it says the Dream could develop into finger-pointing infighting. A lot of teams can, by the way. Like, that could be said about the Indiana Fever as well, by the way. Like, it can be an extremely powerful thing. This us against the world mentality, this we're playing with hate, for lack of a better word, we're playing with hate. We are going to play with an edge, and we think everyone's against us. That can be extremely powerful to win. But you're always playing on the edge of imploding. You're always playing on the edge of imploding. And it's a really tough one, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Atlanta Dream flip this and suddenly not get their season back on track, 'cause it's still on track, and suddenly run off a fucking 10-game win streak and end up number 1 seed. They were my prediction. They were my number 1 seed coming into the season. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see the Atlanta Dream as the number 1 seed. Like, do I think it's likely? No. At this stage, no. But, like, it wouldn't really surprise me. They very well could be. And it's one of those things now where I'm like, it wouldn't also surprise me if the Atlanta Dream enters the 7th seed. When everything becomes about, when you're in the midst of a losing streak and it becomes about, we're being screwed by the refs, we're being screwed by the refs, we're being screwed by the fans, we're being screwed by, the All-Stars, the league are against us, the players are against us. It doesn't it doesn't end on you stagnating. That mentality, it either galvanizes your team, and for you being like they still have an injured player, I don't think Bree Jones is the help that people think. All Bree Jones does is get in the way of the drives. All Bree Jones does is get in people's way. Like, Bree Jones was good last year when Naz Hillman was on the floor because he shoots the ball. Like, Angel Reese is going to start chucking threes now. Like, as great as Bree Jones is, her and Angel Reese operate out of the same areas. Like, it is what it is. But anyway, that's the video. I'll see you guys. I got to shower and I got to run. See you guys. I am ending the stream right now. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. And that is all my videos for today. So if you were here, you got there early. See you.